Hello everybody, Cooper here and welcome back to another episode of the Mosswood Academy here on Cricket Captain 2023. I hope you're all doing very well. Today we're going to do a quick review of cats and floorboards, you gotta love it. We're going to do a quick review of the One Day Cup that we have participated in. We had another very successful tournament. We did win. Whoopsie daisy. We did go unbeaten once again. As you can see, Easterns, who were actually runner-up last season, they actually went to the Div 2 playoff and won. So Borders, they're going to stay down in Division 2. Easterns is going to stay up. But a very bizarre, not bizarre, I shouldn't say bizarre, bizarre's not the right word, very interesting performance from us because we had an unusual amount of players away, which made things a little bit different compared to seasons gone by. But we'll have a look at the team stats first. This is not something I would ordinarily do. As you can see, we're currently at MI Cape Town. So we're going to have to do this. How are we going to do this? Domestic tables. There we go. This is how we're going to do it. One day, current year. So ignore the fact that Paul Sterling has played 41 one-dayers. Only a handful of those were for us. De Villiers played one, then went away to the Big Bash to play for the Sydney Thunder. Jones only played one, and then went away and played for the Hobart Hurricanes. And then we had a whole host of others sort of chip in and play where need be. So it was truly a very interesting all-round kind of tournament. We had two really standout batsmen, being Ferguson and Daniels, being, I think their first go around in this competition. Daniels top scored in the competition with almost 700 runs at a bizarre average of 139.20. We'll get more onto that later. In terms of the bowling, we played Bradfield a fair bit in this tournament as we needed an extra fast bowling option that Jones vacated because he obviously went to go play in the Big Bash. So he played 7 games, only took the 6 wickets, which was a little bit disappointing. But Flair and Beamish did the majority of the work, as did Xavier Johnson. He was sort of batting at 6 and 7, doing a really good job for us, sort of with the bat and with the bowl. But this was more, I think last year in this competition, he didn't actually bowl at all. He really just focused on his batting. This year round, he did sort of a mix and match of both. But we are sort of running into a problem now, and this is going to apply to MI Cape Town, is that a lot of our talent that we've recruited, they're all either playing in other competitions or they're away on international duty, which I think for the squad of 24 that we have for MI Cape Town, only 12 are available for selection. So we've really been hit hard, but I'll go over that a little bit later as well. Let's get into the fixtures. So we did a really good job in this competition, the CSA One Day Cup. We played Titans first. This is the one match that we had De Villiers, and this is the one match that Redwood played. Redwood's our reserve our reserves overseas player from the West Indies. He did okay with the bat, 16 from 9, batting at 7. Flair he was a standout number 8 for us, batting with majority usually with either Daniels or Williams towards the back end of the tournament. So I had De Villiers with the gloves early, and then I think De Villiers went to play in the Big Bash, and then Sterling came back, which is why Redwood only played 1 game. And then I brought Williams in for somebody else. I don't remember who I dropped. But this was the original lineup, very different to what we ended up with. Ferguson on debut, in terms of the one-day stuff, got 15. He had a couple of sixes, didn't do much else. De Villiers got 62, did a very good job. Kurtzen got 84. He was very solid throughout this tournament. Averaged about 55, which is just below his average. What did he get? Sorry. 391 runs, 100, 350 is a strike rate of 165. That was a lot better than last year, where he only averaged 39, and remains to be seen how well he does with the T20 stuff. Williams, he was a little bit disappointing, I thought, Neil Williams this year. Coming out of the test lineup, he sort of went into some poor form. He's with Pal Royals now, so hopefully he can get some good form into him. He's played one game already and he's only scored 5. But as you can see, looking at these one-day fixtures, he only got 2 scores above 50 and all the rest were really low scores. So his average has come right down. Daniels, on debut, picked up 109, not out. So he got several not out scores, which really pumped up his average. Really only had the one bad score, but as you can see, he had a lot of good scores. And then Cilliers was okay. He wasn't too bad. I did end up dropping him partway through the tournament for Xavier Johnson for a few reasons that you'll see later. But he spent a bit of time in the second 11 just getting a bit more form. He just wasn't cutting it for me in terms of his batting. And I feel like Johnson's all-round game is stronger than Cilliers. Cilliers is more of a batsman that bowls. Johnson's more of a traditional all-rounder. So I wanted a traditional all-rounder, which is why I went for Johnson later on. But in terms of this match, 428 in our first innings is nothing to be scoffed at. And then with the ball, we were a little bit expensive. Redwood, none for 94 of his turnovers, which is not ideal. Bradfield on debut picked up 258. Flair and Jones were really good. Beamish was good. Cilliers didn't pick up any wickets, but we still won by 100 runs. Had they batted the full 50, could have been a different story, but in the end we took 10 wickets, so that was a successful outing for us. We then played Boland in a fairly one-sided fixture. We cracked the 500 mark, I think, for the second time this series, or in this save file in terms of a one-day match. So we're going at over 10 and over. The Bazball stuff can get a little bit out of hand at times. So as you can see here, we've already made a few little changes to the lineup. So Cilliers has gone up to 6. Williams has come in for 7. And then Johnson, Flair, Bradfield and Beamish. And Williams was really the only guy who didn't score any runs. Sterling, he either got a really big score or he didn't score at all. So 21, one of those low scores. But Williams was, as we've gone over, not in the best of form at the moment. But Daniels was really good. He was really consistent. Ferguson got his first 100 in his second dig. And then Williams was also a really bit of a surprise packet for us. 87 or 53. His form throughout the season, really spectacular. Did get a nice 100 towards the back end of the tournament as well. Did a really good job with the gloves. And then we restricted them to 236. They never really looked like they were going to get going. We kept them way under the run rate. We picked up the 10 wickets and we moved on, basically. So not really much to report on with this match. Then we played Northwest Dragons, which they batted first. We bowled them out for 224. Again, we kept the runs down. I don't believe we changed the 11 going into this match, but Johnson picked up 2. Cilliers and Beamish picked up 5 between them. Bradfield was the only one that struggled in terms of the bowling, and then Flair was really good, 3 for 32 off 8.3, which was great. And then we chased it down fairly comfortably. Kurtzen got 107 off 69. Sterling got 67 off 44. Ferguson only got the 8 today, as Williams also got 4. And then Daniels was really good, 41 of 22, not out. They never really looked convincing bowling-wise. We smacked them around the park. I'm struggling to see when we're going to get beaten in terms of the domestic stuff. It might not be until we take an international job that we might get beaten, but we'll see what happens. We then played Western Province. We almost got the 500 again, but as you can see, we are just a really deep batting team at the moment. Still unchanged. I can't remember exactly which match that we changed that we made changes to the team, but Ferguson, Sterling, Williams actually got a decent score in this one. Kurtzen was the only one that disappointed with the bat. I know Flair and Beamish didn't get runs, but I don't really expect them to. Anything from my bottom three is just a bonus. But that's one thing I was actually impressed with this season, was how well the tail did at times, because we did use them at certain points in time. I know that Haynes was quite good with the bat. He got a couple of decent scores, got a 25 and a 30 not out. And then Beamish, even Beamish was really good with the bat. He got a 38 at one point. And Flair, he's averaging, I think how many runs did he get this year? He got 203 runs in 7 innings. And obviously was amazing with the ball. So he's probably second in terms of player of the tournament. He's probably behind Ferguson and Williams. Not Williams, Daniels, sorry. So he'd be second or third, depending on who you want to pick. And then we bowled them all out for 292. It was getting a little bit hairy. They were 4 for 213. Actually, I remember this match. Actually, no, it wasn't this match, so never mind. Beamish was none for 51 after 5, so I actually turned to Paul Sterling to provide us with a spin option, and he wasn't too bad. He does have wickets in his locker. He has got a one-day 5 for while bowling for Ireland. I don't remember who it's against. But Haynes picked up 4. Johnson was good, 3 for 66, a little bit expensive. But not much we could do there. And then Cilliers was also a little bit expensive, going at over 6 runs and over. But Flair and Haynes were really good. Really standout bowling performance by those two. Easton's came around once again. 106 runs we beat them by. We only scored the 331. I think it was this match that was rain affected. So we actually ended up... it was a Duckworth-Lewis match, so we only ended actually... The batting innings was only for 48 overs, not 50. But neither team made it to that amount of overs anyway. So Daniels picked up another 139 off 86. We were 6 for 159 and then 7 for 167. And then Haynes and Beamish really stuck around with Daniels to get that score over 300, which I was really happy about. So we batted a little bit slower towards the back end of the innings, and Daniels played a little bit more conservatively than I probably would normally go for. Yes, he's still scoring at a ridiculous rate, but as you can see from some of the other guys that were going around, so like Ferguson was 54 off 25, 4 4s and 5 6s. We weren't necessarily striking at 200. And then we bowled them all out for 219. Beamish picked up 4 for 68 and Flair picked up 5 for 47. Haynes was good again with the ball. Johnson and Bradfield didn't pick up any wickets between them, but they did a reasonable job at keeping the runs down. Johnson maybe not so much, going at 6.8, but he had a really good bowling performance towards the back end of the season as well. So I'm going to point that out when I see it. We then smoked Lions by 257 runs. This might be the best one-day innings I've ever played on Cricket Captain by Ferguson. 242 not out. 25 4s, 11 6s, all off 144 balls. Really good. There was a massive partnership as well for the 7th wicket. Flair got 61 not out off 48 balls, 10 4s and a 6. I wasn't playing him particularly aggressively at all. I think it's just 2 notches above the neutral setting. But to get, a 107 run partnership was pretty special between those two. But the real partnership of note was the 4th wicket, which was 202 runs between Daniels and Ferguson. So we had our 2, 3, and 4 got off to good starts, but didn't really get a decent score. Johnson was the same, although he was swinging for the fences a bit more towards the back end of the innings. Williams got out second ball, so not much you can do about that. But this one got put down to Ferguson. It was an incredible innings. Now that he's a full-time opener, I'm definitely going to play him more in the first class stuff. I can see him and de Villiers really being South Africa's opening pair going forward for the future. And, you know, should I ever get the international job for South Africa, I plan on doing that. And then we bowled him out for 225. Beamish picked up 3. Johnson is in the wickets. Bradfield's in the wickets. Haynes and Flair had 5 between them. So a really good performance. The first wicket was really the biggest partnership that they had. That went for 88. But they've got decent names. They've got Markram, they've got Harmer, Coetzee, Ngidi. So they've got some good names in this team, but just couldn't get it together. We then played Dolphins in, I don't think it's a semi-final. I think it's just, is it a semi-final? I don't remember. I think it might have just been the final group stage match. But we were not very good. 235 all out after 26 overs. So we really threw the kitchen sink at this one, and it did not go our way. 175 for 7 at one stage. Flair and Haynes really saved the innings towards the back end. But yeah, we were, again, live by Bazball, die by Bazball. Just one of those things that happens, but it didn't affect us too much. We bowled very well. 188 all out they got. Haynes picked up 2, Flair picked up 3, Beamish and Johnson picked up 2 each, and then Bradfield got in another wicket as well. And then we had the final against Boland, where we were in a little bit of trouble at 5 for 124. Williams and Daniels put on a masterclass for the 6th wicket. I think it was a 265 run partnership. It was incredible batting. I really loved this partnership. And then Flair chipped in with 45 not out as well. We got out in the last over, so we probably wouldn't have gotten much more than we could have. We absolutely maximised everything that we could have out of this innings. Daniels and Williams just did a fantastic job. Williams, he's been fantastic across all formats. He's only batted a handful of times in the first class level, but he's got 250s. And then I'm really interested to use him in the T20 stuff. That's going to be exciting. So, and that way, I'm assuming de Villiers will come back at some point, but then Williams will then take the gloves to be the full-time keeper instead of de Villiers. And then we bowled them all out for 251. We did have them 5 for 166 at one stage, so to get them over 250 was a little bit disappointing. But Johnson, this was sort of his coming out game. 559, picked up his first fifer of his career. As I said earlier, picked up the 14 wickets this tournament. And at a decent clip as well. Probably, I wouldn't even say that's expensive. I'd say that's probably normal, but it's expensive for our team, I would say, because we've got Haynes going at 4.12 runs per over. He only picked up the 9 wickets this tournament, but kept the runs down, did his job. He's played a few 2020s for South Africa. He's done okay. He's been solid. I don't know if I mentioned that in the last episode or that's happened since, but he's not, I don't believe he's playing for South Africa at the moment, but he's currently not available for MI Cape Town. So I don't know where he is, as the notification screen hasn't told me where any of the other players are, which I'm going to address now. So we've done a bit of training. As you can see, in the meantime, Rabada's currently injured. We'll go to coach and physio, and as you can see, if they're greyed out like this and don't have the little globe next to their name, The glow means they're on international duty, and if they're just greyed out, that just means they're playing in another league somewhere. So as you can see, a lot of our main players are away, and I just don't know where they are. So De Villiers, I know De Villiers is in the Big Bash. I know Jones is in the Big Bash. I don't know where Flair is. Haynes is on international duty. Steinberg, I'm assuming he's Australian, so I'm guessing he's in the Big Bash. Who does he play for in the Big Bash? Perth Scorchers, so he's probably there. So hopefully he can come back at some point. Van der Dussen, I'm assuming he's in Pakistan. How has De Villiers been going in the Big Bash? He's not too bad. He's gotten 350s and an 11 not out, so not too bad at all. He's keeping his average nice and high. But he's barely played any one-day cricket for us because he just goes straight to the Big Bash. So he basically gets one-day match a season. But in the first-class stuff, he's been incredible. So it'd be nice to have him towards the back end of the season play some first-class cricket if he doesn't get called up for South Africa. Where is Jones? He's also in the Big Bash. He's actually doing very well. Who's he? I said he's playing for the Hurricanes. And yeah, he's been fantastic for them. And then Flair, where are you? He's in Pakistan, and he's been okay. Who's he playing for in Pakistan? Silet. I don't know who they are. But he's been okay without being terrific. As you can see, he's in fantastic form for us. But if we go to our current squad that we have available to us, the only player that I haven't picked is Rollifson. That's just because he's not in great form. Everybody else, I only had 2 full-time bowlers available to me. So I'm not sure who my 5th bowler is going to be. It's probably going to be... Oh, actually, I've got 5 bowlers, which is fine, so I can give them 4 overs each. But if someone's a little bit expensive, I don't know who I'm going to turn to, because none of my other guys have bowled at T20 level. I don't think Daniels has bowled at any level. Murray hasn't bowled it. No, he's bowled a little bit at first. He's bowled 1 over at first class level. Kurtzen hasn't bowled. And then David Priya, who's played for us before, hasn't bowled. And then Ferguson has only played a handful of matches, and he hasn't bowled. So I don't know who my 6th bowler is going to be. But hopefully we can get some of our guys to come back at a certain point in time. We've got... I should probably play, if it's already... Oh, that's not what I wanted. A seamless pitch, that's already there, which is good. So I literally have no idea how this season's going to go, if it's going to go well at all. But Kurtzen's going to captain this sort of mismatch team. It's almost the second 11, I guess we're going to call it. So it's going to be interesting how this goes, because the majority of our hand-picked players are not available. So we are in a little bit of a pickle. But this is where I'm going to leave it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode, and I hope you continue enjoying the series. I know I'm having a blast making it, so it's nice to be back on the YouTube, in the YouTube format. So, but I'll see you next time for some more Cricket Captain action. See you guys then.